Welcome back to the Colony After Show on IGN, where we are talking about the third episode of Colony, and more importantly, Peter Jacobson, are you a morning person or not?
I am a morning person.
Okay, phew. I've waited a week for that answer. It was terrible.
The fans are relieved.
The fans are relieved.
That's all we have to say for this week. Bye, everybody.
That's a cliffhanger.
With me, we're going to start on that end. We are with Peter Jacobson, who plays Alan, collaborator extraordinaire on Colony. We are with Ryan Condal, I'm just going back and forth. I'm mixing it all up. Co-creator of Colony.
I messed you up with the wine discussion.
You did. Fun fact, Condal wine is a thing.
Yeah,
It's
Grand
a
Condal wine. It's not very good.
Check it out.
I hope I don't get sued by...
sponsored for that.
Yeah.
And Sarah Wayne Callies, who plays Katie Bowman, resistance fighter extraordinaire, who has a pretty difficult episode this week, I will say.
It's a tough week.
But kicking things off, I'm curious. We know that Colony is set within this block that is Los Angeles. We've only seen a little bit. We've seen like the Bowman's homes and stuff like that. But where would you guys want to travel within the Los Angeles block as people on the show, just to have a chance to shoot there?
Harry Potter Land.
Because at this point in time, Harry Potter Land will have been
it's
built.
Enough in the future. They waited until we had completed Harry Potter Land because they're like, we want to go there. And yeah, I'd hole up inside of Ollivanders, and every time somebody walked through the door, I'd be like, hello, Homora, something.
We're actually going to find out in season 6 that was the whole reason for the invasion.
And,
they're looking for the Elder Wand.
Yeah, right.
How about for you guys? Peter, do you have a place that you would just love to have a chance to shoot in a post-apocalyptic setting?
I just want to go to the beach. I know that's not in the block.
You and a lot of people in this show really want to get to Santa Monica.
Yeah.
I like the ocean.
I'm a movie geek, so I would move into the Cinerama Dome with my Blu-ray player and my Blu-ray collection, and I would just sit there and just watch movies again and again, and fight off the Red Hats.
I love that.
That would be my plan.
Well, Peter, you made a perfect segue for me bringing up the beach, because we do find out that there is this tunnel and this way to get out of the Los Angeles block, or so it seems. So how long, this is a Ryan question, how long are we gonna have to wait to have that followed up on?
I will say, stay tuned, because fun things are coming, and I think very soon we'll see more of where that's headed.
Now, Peter, we see Alan come to the Yonk. We see him sort of, playing both Will and Katie. Do you think he suspects he's getting more than he bargained for with the Bowmans?
That's a good question. No, I think at this point, early on, I think that I feel enough in charge, and that I see that I put Will in a position that really is basically untenable in terms of him trying to find any room to shift or to wiggle out of the straitjacket I put him in. So I think he feels pretty confident that he can handle whatever's coming down the pike, and Will, I've got Will right where I need him. This one, I sense could be trouble, certainly. I think I sensed that when I first met her in the kitchen back in episode 1. But I'm going to point to you for a third time and just say, just so that I can block Mr. Condal's face. And so I think somewhere in the back of his head, he's got a little bit of a catch on her. But Will, please, it's right in here. It's easy.
Listen to me. Will can be one of two things to us: an asset or a hazard. With you on board, he's an asset. But if you're not?
No.
We see Katie really putting her foot down in this, especially with the resistance and what's going on with Will. And she also has a really big loss. I think it was a very personal loss to lose that resistance fighter that we see early on in the episode.
Poor Justin.
Poor Justin.
R.I.P. Justin.
That'll be the hashtag of this.
That was his the actor's first day ever working. He had just graduated USC.
And you're like, we're gonna kill you.
And he was so excited. He was like thrilled. Yeah, I mean, just couldn't believe it. just like walking around the set, just like wide-eyed and so happy to be there. It was really, it was cute. It was adorable.
Be sad, you've been shot, be
He did a great
sad.
job.
Well, I feel like at this point of the season, we are seeing these loyalties to different sides start to at least try to pull Will and Katie apart, even if they aren't doing that way. And they sort of keep colliding into each other with very, very sexy sequences between you and Mr. Holloway. But talk to me a little bit about that, and from your perspective, what Katie is trying to do to make sure that the Bowmans stay whole and that they aren't pulled apart.
I think throughout a lot of this episode, Katie's just trying to pull herself together. I mean, the way, I think there's ideology and then there's reality, and Katie's experiencing the erosion of her naivete, I think, through episodes 2 and 3. You sign on to rhetoric, but then what you have is a day-to-day execution of plans that are neither as humanitarian as she had hoped, nor as bloodless as she had hoped. And I think by the end of the 3rd episode, she's really wondering if she's gotten in bed with the wrong people. But that no one convinces her more wholly of the rightness of her decision than Snyder. I mean, there's sort of a sense that the enemy of my enemy is my friend. But for some reason, the line about that in episode 3 that stuck with me the most was when she's talking to Rachel and she's saying, I could still smell it, and feel it and hear it. And I think she's trying to take on board that she saw a human being die for the first time in a way that she was responsible for. And I think that will echo for a while. I'm trying to say the things that are changing Katie are fundamental glacial changes. These aren't sort of topical, maybe I think a little bit this way. These are things that are fundamentally altering who she is as a person. And through it, she's holding on to her husband like a lifeline without being able to say, I need you right now. I had a horrible day.
Do you think there's going to be, or what could push her to the point where she's like, listen, I just need to let him know what's going on? Or do you think that the farther that she starts feeling these feelings, the more she's like, no, I need to keep this from him?
I think she wants to make sure that her feelings are her own problem. She's a big girl and she's created this situation for herself. I think if we end up in a point where her actions endanger Will or the kids, that's the moment to put everything on the table, whether or not it costs her her marriage, whether or not it costs her his trust. But I think what she's learned by the end of episode 3 is I've got to grow up, and I've got to grow up fast. So I think we're about to see this woman evolve into someone who is a little more agile and deft at dancing through some of these things.
What's that?
A cipher. We found a couple of these before. We think it's how they communicate.
So what's it say?
It says you were right about the kid.
This is an episode that we see the stakes growing exponentially higher, but at the same time, those early scenes at the Yonk looked like they were really fun to shoot, and it looked like everyone was having a good time. How do you guys, sort of kick back and cut the tension on set and keep things fun and relaxed as this season is progressing? If you do it all, if I'm putting you guys on the spot right
The
now.
way we do it at the Yonk.
We all drink as much as we can before we shoot.
Together and we have a cocktail.
Holloway and his flute really calmed everybody down.
And my harp too. I mean, he and I, when we do that together, we do a little duet. Sorry, I just jumped on that. Do it. Harp.
We're gonna have a band soon.
I like that.
But I've been on shows where it's harder to cut the tension. If you feel in the moment you want to sort of take the air out, where it's just a great group of people. It's just a very relaxed group, and a lot of everybody's working hard. But I've never for a second felt like I couldn't laugh at something that had nothing to do with what was going on.
Yeah.
The hardest part of that Yonk scene for me was trying to
sound like there are a lot of people
yeah,
in the room.
right, and to play, really get out some important information. That really makes me nuts.
But it came out great.
Did it?
Yeah.
Did. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
And that's a trick with the mix, because if you weren't doing that, then you mix in the sound, and it's like it doesn't. You have to. I know it's the weirdest.
Because at first
weirdest,
we just thought that
inside production baseball.
Yeah.
Well, I love how natural and cool Katie is in that scene too, where she's like, "Oh, sorry, watch out for my guns," like just tapping, and I was like, "Oh, girl," and then I was like, "Oh no, I see what you're doing there. You probably shouldn't tell everyone that you have actual guns, but the biceps references.
What's funny is after we shot that, I was like, did I just flex on Carl Weathers? Like, I literally just looked at Apollo Creed and was like, look at me, I was like, I'm such an idiot.
And it's on screen for the rest of time. So applause for you.
Fail.
Immortalized.
All right, one last question in this episode. You know, again, we're talking about how the Resistance is maybe looking as dangerous as the collaborators at a certain point. So who should we be trusting more at this point in time, Snyder or Broussard?
Ooh, Snyder.
That's sort of a
Duh.
yeah.
I mean, I don't know who feels more dangerous. Snyder is obviously can, rain holy hell on anybody, pretty much at the drop of a hat. At least I feel like I can. Broussard is a whole different on the ground, visceral, animalistic terror that he, Tori's so contained, which is what's so fabulous about the way he plays that. But both are really dangerous. It's hard for me to get outside of just the all-seeing power that I have, the awesome power that this man has given me. I can't say anything but Snyder's utter threat to the universe.
I would.
Megalomania.
I would.
Snyder's a little bit more fun than Broussard right now. Broussard is like.
I would say that I think what Carlton and I were really hoping for the milieu that we've tried to create here is this idea in a lot of these kinds of stories you see, these are the good guys and these are the bad guys, and the good guys do good moralistic things and the bad guys do horrible things almost exclusively, and there's no morality or humanity beneath them. But I think what you're starting to see, and you will see as the show continues to unfold and unfold and unfold, is that these are all human beings, and they've chosen a side or they've not chosen a side, but the idea is that they are all flawed individuals, and the Resistance might have a good idea, a nougat of an idea in there somewhere, but it's not all good. And while Proxy Snyder has chosen to collaborate, part of the speech that he gives the crowd at the Yonk is that, like, look, I'm trying, this is the hand that we've been dealt. I'm in charge. Somebody's going to be in charge, but I'm in charge, and I am now trying to lead this block the best way I can without oppressing everybody and sending everybody to concentration camps. And I think a lot of people hear that and they're like, yeah, okay, that's what anybody in your position would say. But let's see how that all unfolds and how we really think of Snyder as we see things kind of get worse and worse in the block.
I do think in episode 4 that dynamic starts to shift between Snyder's what looks like obvious morality between Snyder and Broussard at opposite poles starts to shift a lot. For me, the question I ask myself is who has the most to gain, and at this moment I don't see that Broussard gains anything from his actions in terms of financial, powerful. He's doing this because he believes in it. And I think that might make his motivations more pure than somebody who has so much personally to gain from it. But at the same time, sometimes there's nothing more dangerous than a zealot.
Well, I love that as a tease for episode 4 and what's ahead on Colony. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us here, and for all things Colony, keep it here at IGN.
You gotta get out. This is what I do, Katie.